Yeah, we have a few people that we're chatting. I don't know how many you have total. About 10.
Okay.
Oh
So we'll get
my
some people in
god.
there.
Hey, here we go.
Are we? Oh, whoa, wow, that's so surreal. I can actually see myself in the stream now.
Well, yeah, no, we won't do that.
Are you going to pause that?
Yeah, pause it.
Oh, because it's going to have sound otherwise?
Yeah, and it'll make everything slow.
But are you still going to get, the chat's going to be live?
Yeah, we're live, by the way.
Oh,
Hello.
Live.
hi everybody.
What's up, guys?
George, JP, and now Lyle, Les Inc. here with you.
Yeah.
You can probably tell this is not a trick of the camera, but JP and I are actually in the same country. We're actually several, well, not even several, probably 2 feet apart at this point in time. He's visiting Washington, D.C., and
right.
so it sort of opens up a slot on the live stream audio and video for us to have Lyle join us. Lyle, whose handle that you can see with a little label under his face there is Les Inc. On Storm Wars, and he's basically the back-end engineer. Is that a proper way to introduce you?
Yeah, that works fine. I'm working on the server side that keeps this thing running. All the data.
Right.
He's actually a lot more useful than I am. I'm just here for the comic relief.
I think it's pretty much the case that he's more useful than either of us. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the time when players need something troubleshot or fixed, Lyle is the guy actually doing it. And there are certain sort of invisible aspects of the game we were just discussing, the Coliseum, for example.
George, is my hand on your lap?
Will you not interrupt me?
It's a question in the chat. It's a legitimate question.
You know what? It's really unfortunate that we're not on headphones because now I can't mute John Paul. This is going to be a very painful live stream. I was going to say that there are certain things in the game that Lyle handles, and one of them, for example, is the Coliseum. We get a lot of questions about that. We were talking about it recently, so I won't be the one to put you on the spot. But if we get questions, I expect you may be able to field them.
Mm-hmm. Sure, no problem.
And maybe the only other thing I want to say by way of introduction of Lyle is that he is, unlike JP and I, who are probably a little bit more junior, let's be honest, really a serial coder and game developer. There is one title in particular, which we don't need to advertise here, that you were a central creator on that I played a lot as a kid. It was an awesome game. All right, we'll tell. It's called Amulets and Armor, and it was pretty much the most awesome game that people didn't know about that's ever existed. It was based on, I think it was built in the Doom engine, wasn't it? And it was like a 3D fantasy game, basically?
Well, I actually recreated a Doom-style engine, so yeah. We used the same basic techniques that Doom was using, but we created it based on our loving memories of working and playing D&D.
Oh yeah. Wow. It was super cool. And it just was
cool.
It was cool to be able to, explore these levels, and there were many different maps that you could play, and the cool thing was you would acquire, the items were really well distributed across the map, so you could acquire certain really good items in some maps and then use them to play other maps and so on. So you really had this sense of progress, and it was non-linear because there were all these different maps that you could play. So it was such a super game. Anyway, so it's kind of cool because Lyle and Giannis actually both worked on that project and now are working again together on Storm Wars years later.
All right.
Am I correct in saying you guys didn't really work that much on other projects together other than these 2 things?
These are the 2 major projects we worked on.
That is very cool.
So what's the topic of the day, George? Like part of my role here is to keep us.
You are the whip. I can't believe this.
What are we?
Well, we titled the live stream "The In Crowd," and we wanted to talk about popular strategy in Storm Wars. But I think that since we have more of a dev presence here, we also want to take questions and chat with our various chats. If you guys have questions for Lyle in particular, because he's here.
Absolutely.
If you have other questions that may be design oriented, I'd be happy to share thoughts on that. We'll have some trivia as well. If you guys are new to this stream, the way this works is that we ask trivia once in a while. You can type the answer to the trivia question into the chat, the Twitch chat, which JP monitors. And if you get the answer right, we will give you a prize in the game. Incidentally, we'd really appreciate it if you would follow our Twitch channel. One of the reasons that we're doing all these streams is because if we can accumulate a little bit of a following on these channels and so on, then in the not too distant future, we'll be able to get sort of professional streamers to come on with us and help advertise the game.
Absolutely. I already have a topic, which is arena. If we're
going to be talking about stuff,
the arena. About stuff, yeah, people want.
I think the arena is probably a good thing for us to talk about in terms of progress, but I don't know if we want to dive directly into that.
All right. Yeah. Why don't you kick it off, George?
Right. Let's just start by saying Storm Wars is an ever-changing game with an ever-changing metagame, and certain things are strong at different times. And it behooves you and I and all of us to know what is strong at any given time. So I think that one of the things I want to talk about a little bit is imp decks, because they're very popular.
I have an input from the chat, George.
Please.
One of the things that isn't strong, apparently, are your defense decks.
My defense decks? Thank you, Twitch chat. Would you note the name of the person who said that and ban him from trivia?
That's Crocker360.
Okay, great. In any event, I'm going to pop into my army screen here and show you sort of an example of an imp deck and try to explain why I think this stuff is strong and also why I think it's not overpowered. Basically, Storm Wars is a card game, as you guys all know. If this is the first stream you're watching, I sort of recommend that you watch a different one. That's archived in our on our YouTube channel. But basically, you deck build decks like in any other game from your collection, and the more synergy you have in your deck, the more effective it will be. Imps are really good because they're an aggro or rush tactic. They're very small, fast creatures. You can put them all together and create a really powerful deck that can take out your opponent quickly. I get questions about this all the time because people are afraid that these things are overpowered and that we should change them. But I think that we don't mind too much that there's at least an aggro or a rush strategy in the game, as long as it's not overpowered. So why are these things not overpowered is the main question of the day. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit, but maybe just we can actually look at how this imp deck works, and that will be the key to our answer here. Let's see. Let me ask you, Lyle, because you are very much into the statistics of the game and sort of get a lot of reports on these things. Do you think of imp decks as something that you see a lot of? Is it more common on attacking than on defending, for example?
Well, it's definitely more on attacking than defending. I can't say I've been seeing it overrunning everything, though.
Right.
So it's there, but it's not everywhere.
Okay. So it's. I mean, my gut is that it's not overpowered because it's very easy to counter. But my argument is always that a deck is going to be more popular on attack when it's easy to use and very fast, because it helps people grind, essentially. So it's sort of overpopular in a way because it's more enjoyable to use than other decks, maybe. So if we're looking at the screen here, you can see all these little imps. The key card in most imp decks is going to be something like the Gemini Imp, which is a very fast card that twins itself and creates a lot of little copies of itself. And I'm going to just play a match here against a random person and show you how this deck works. Let me just pop in here. This is our arena where you can play PvP against pretty much any other player. There's a selection of people. You just pop into a match here. Oh, it's telling me I have no more treasure slots available.
Bad George. Bad George.
Oh, yeah, well, whatever. I'll open a chest so it stops pinging me. It wants to let me know that because I might win a chest if I win the fight, and it wants to give me the ability to actually play with that. Incidentally, I'm playing against another rush deck. This is Curie using wolves.
What are the what equipment slots do you have on there?
That is a good point. Let me pause this. these are 2 greater imp charms. So these are 2 pieces of equipment that are going to summon 2 extra imps to me. This is probably the most common piece of imp equipment, other than there's another one that increases the attack power of all your imps. So this is a very typical tactic. I sort of am wondering whether this is going to beat the wolf deck. It probably will. It's the same tactic, but a little faster. Lau, do you see a lot of wolf decks, actually?
I'm checking now.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I actually won that fight pretty handily.
All right, I'm gonna start taking some questions on here. A couple quick ones. Is there a problem with item drops? I got so many epic chests and only 2 to 3 items and 6 to 8 of each.
Is there a problem with item drops?
That's from Crocker360.
Because what? I didn't
I
follow
got
the
so
question.
many epic chests and I only got 2 to 3 items and 6 to 8 of each. I'm not sure what that means actually.
Meaning equipment boxes within epic chests.
I guess, yeah.
Well, I don't think the drop rate for a chest or rather an equipment box within a chest is particularly high. I mean, there's a lot of other things in chests. And don't forget, you can grind chests for free. Those are totally free items. So it's not going to be super grindable. I don't think there's a problem. What was the rate there? 30 chests and 8 equipment box?
No, the rate was so many chests.
I would, if I were getting 1 equipment box every, 6 or 7 chests, I would think that would actually be very good. That's just my gut.
Oh, dude, I think you posted the wrong Twitch in the Kong chat.
Is this the wrong thing here?
Yeah, I don't think it's Storm Wars -game. I think it's...
No, it's not. If there isn't a hyphen, it's just Twitch is, the congregate is doing that because it runs over the line.
Okay. No, okay, fair enough.
If you copy paste that, it will come back at you without the hyphen.
Okay.
Anyhow. Well, is there anything that we can say substantively about chest drop rates? Is this? I don't know if this is something that Lyle has more insight into than I do. I think that it's consistent anyway, right? Across.
It's supposed to be a consistent distribution over, not perfectly distributed, but a uniform distribution is the technical term. So there should be an equal chance to get in any of the odds. So the items in it shouldn't really be having a lot of duplicates. So if there is, I want to know about that.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good way to put it. I mean, if there's something that seems statistically significant, if I can put it that way, as being odd, getting all the same copies of something or whatever, you should let us know because we will try to root out whatever problem there might be.
And that being said, there is sometimes some odd chances where you'll get the same item 3 in a row. There is an odd for it.
That is possible, yeah, obviously. Actually, you know what? I kind of have a question that may be interesting for us to discuss in general, because I get this a lot, and you probably know this better than I do, Lyle, which is that I know that to a certain extent, some of our RNG in the game is seeded, meaning, for example, if you open a chest and then your game crashes, and then you come back, you'll have to reopen the chest, but you'll get the same thing in the chest that you got prior.
Right.
Obviously, we do that to prevent scamming or exploiting. How is it possible for that stuff to continue to be random if it's actually seeded? I think a lot of players are saying, well, it doesn't sound like it's actually random, and are we sort of cheating the odds as a result?
It's that gets into how random numbers are generated. Most of them are a form of a pseudo-random generation where they take a number and they run it through a formula, and it generates another number. And sometimes they also add in another factor, such as time of day, or if they have another source in the system, a noise factor, they'll put that into it. But the basic pseudo-random generator algorithms are designed so that they generate the same sequence of numbers. But there are so many of them that it effectively is random.
Right. So the sequence itself, once it's determined, is fixed, though. So I mean, if I open 27 chests in a row, and then somehow my account got rolled back, and I have to open the same 27 chests in a row, I get the same 27 items in a row. I can't sort of outlast the seeding mechanism so that it changes.
That is correct.
Okay. So, but it should at least be fair for everybody, because it's also not the case that everybody has the same sequence. In fact, everybody should be unique. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So people
It
aren't
should
going
be
to get
unique
the
for
same
everybody, and it should be the same distribution. Actually, now I think about it, the ones these particularly don't have any outside randomness. So yes, they're pseudo-random number generaters that will produce the same sequence every time.
So there seems to be a request in chat that you open 10 epic chests and see what the resulting distribution is.
All right. Well, look. So this is how we. I actually should have introduced this a little bit better, and I apologize. But I'll just say now that what we do is we also will do a couple of door prizes for a couple people randomly in chat, where we will allow them to get either a 25 gem prize or whatever is in the epic equipment box that I open live on the stream. And I think we can do that twice, because I have a couple epic equipment boxes available. And we also have some trivia questions. JP, do you want to maybe...
Yeah, let's see. What we wrote a couple of trivia questions down. So, should we do the first one?
I actually think that third one, which is all about a certain item that you can buy in the game shop. Since Lyle came up with the question so brilliantly, I think Lyle should ask it.
Yeah, really, all credit goes to Lyle. So.
Which one is it again? Sorry.
It's my favorite question so far. All right, so Lyle will ask a question, and you guys will have to type. I will explain,
okay.
And you guys will have to type the answer into the chat. If you are the first, second, or third person to type the correct answer into the chat, you will win a prize. The question, Lyle, is the one about the item in the shop that is a group item, and you were asking about the...
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, if you buy the skeleton keys in the shop, how many silver keys do you get?
A very good question. We really go to such great lengths to try to come up with trivia. It's... yeah, it's... amazing how simple these questions
so
can be.
Is it the first three correct answers?
Well, it's up to you to decide. I think I see three correct answers.
I see three correct answers. Okay, so we have three winners. Crocker 360. Well, first of all, the answer is 4. Crocker 360.
The answer is 4.
Lily and Jenna. And M. Spill.
Okay, congrats, guys. Now, of course, we didn't tell you what you were going to win, because, why would we decide what the prize was before the trivia was asked? Should the prize be skeleton keys? Probably not. They're only so helpful. What shall we give them? Should we just give them gems? Well, we'll give you gems.
I think gems. Gems
All right.
are good. Gems is good.
JP, you can decide how many. Just make sure you don't come up with...
20?
All right, fine. 20 gems to each of you.
20
Congratulations.
gems.
Gosh, I need to be more in charge here. I haven't had my tea.
You have a whole mug of tea right there.
Is it full or is it not full?
It's half empty.
No, that's not half empty. That's like a tenth empty. You're not in Greece anymore. This is right in front of you. You don't have to estimate. Just look at it. Yeah. Anyway, only the finest banter in Storm Wars live streams. In any event.
So you wanted to talk about some of the other decks that are in the in crowd right now?
I did. Thank you for bringing us there. Let me just say that this imp deck is very hard to beat if you don't know how to beat it, but it's actually pretty easy to beat if you do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this imp deck and I'm going to assign it as my defense deck. And what that does is that enables me to play against it when I go into my crew. So let me just do that. I'll hit my options here and click Set Defense. And then I'm going to pop over to my crew. And I'll be able to sort of inspect myself. Well, let's click through all this dialogue here. View. So this is that imp deck in sort of a close-up view mode. We can see all the imps here scrolling on the screen. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Duel. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to select the deck that I want, which is my what I call Implosion deck with Auburn. and I'm going to click Duel. And I'm going to show you the type of deck that I use to actually beat an imp deck. So this particular deck with Auburn, who is sort of an underused hero, I think. He's a hero that hits things harder if they're fast. And obviously most imps are pretty fast. Yes, I paused it on purpose.
Okay, well,
and please don't take control of my mouse.
No, I'm trying. Okay.
So
okay.
This guy has two different pieces of equipment here, which I'm taking advantage of, and I'm going to zoom in on them. This is a poison file, which is an epic equipment, and what we're calling a pyroviter, which is an epic equipment, and each of these things have a negative status effect to all creatures that enter play, including my own. So I'm going to set everything on fire, and I'm going to poison everything.
I'm only laughing because of the chat.
Is it hilarious?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn also has this capability of restoring the status of all of his creatures every turn. So essentially I'm dealing a disadvantage only to the enemies, because this is sort of a hard to use set of equipments. As I just said, they poison all creatures that enter play, including my own. Auburn heals me of that problem. So all my creatures are immune to it, all his creatures are not, since they're all fragile, being small imps, and they're all affected by somebody that hits fast creatures hard. This deck will beat imps every time. You can see I'm just crushing myself.
Everyone's questioning why your win rate is so high today.
They're questioning why.
I think it's just because you're playing against your own decks.
you know what? Really, the fallout of all of this is that I'm going to ask Lyle to create a god mode for me. Right?
We can't do that.
Well, that's what you say on camera. But
No.
I would like a mode where basically the RNG cheats completely ridiculously in my favor, and everything targets wrong. And
George, do you have a great Gorgu in your cards list?
In my cards list,
Yeah.
I don't think that I.
You don't?
I don't. I might. Why? Why is that relevant?
So, Lazasa wants to see you use a great Gorgu in a deck. Build a great Gorgu deck.
Well, I don't think I have one unlocked in my account. This is my player account, which I play quite honestly, and I don't cheat with. So I don't think I have a great Gorgu, but I probably have a Mammon. Does you want to see that? But in any event, I mean, you can see the sort of strategy, the anti-imp strategy that I've employed here. What it is it hits multiple targets, it hits them hard because they're fast, and it takes advantage of Auburn's ability to restore the statuses that these two items are using. Now, there's many, many other ways to beat imps. I don't mean to ask maybe a tough question, but Lyle, do you have an impression of a particular type of deck that is used against imps from what you've seen, or not really?
I don't personally myself.
I think the Atlantean project is quite useful against imps.
You need to not drop ridiculous comments like that. All right, so why is John Paul in Washington, you might ask? Well, because he's interviewing, or actually he's already gotten a job. Okay, sorry. He's gotten a job with a company called the Atlantean, what is it called?
Well, the Atlantean project? No, it's the Atlantis project.
The Atlantis project? So he is actually an Atlantean now.
That's right. We just thought that was funny. Haha. Atlanteans get it.
Thank you. Anything else you want to say on that joke?
No, I'm gonna see if there are any questions in chat.
Yes. Are there any questions in chat? I will actually pull up another deck that is capable of beating imps and show you guys that.
Let's see.
So I'm going to now use a more generalized deck that's not specifically anti-imp, but works very well against them, using the hero Zoo, who is also a demonic hero that has sort of a fire-based attack. And I am equipping her. I will open it right now, actually. I am equipping her with these two equipments called fire pedals, which render your units immune to fire.
Really
every
bring
third turn.
Pedal to the metal, huh?
I am. Oh my god. You're fired. And this is effective against most imp decks because most imp decks run some kind of fire with their hero. It's also a relatively fast deck, so let's see if I can win with this against my imps again.
Well, you're playing against your own deck, so
Am I?
I think the chances are high that you'll win.
Okay, you know what? I'm not even sure because I haven't tested this deck against that one. And it would be proof that imps are difficult to beat if I don't win. In any event. We do have more trivia and stuff,
We
don't
do,
we? Do
we
you want to
do.
do a door prize, potentially?
Ooh.
What?
Should we?
Yes.
Okay. I think we're gonna ask this one.
This seems to be going well, by the way.
Lyle, do you remember the first trivia question we came up with?
Yeah, about the yes.
Yes, about that.
Okay.
Wait.
So-
I don't even remember it.
So Lyle
What is
does.
this inside conversation?
He came up with it. So wait. But so is it going to be like a what's the prize exactly?
Why don't you guys decide?
No, you decide.
All right. Well, it's not that difficult a trivia question, so we should go with gems again, and then the hard one should be the last trivia question we ask, and we'll give away.
That's not that. This one is actually quite easy. I think this one's harder.
Oh, okay. All right. So this being the hard trivia question, we should give away an epic equipment box to the first 3 people who get it right.
Okay.
We always do that once a stream.
All right, Lyle, fire away.
Okay, let's see if I can ruin the wording. How many cards can the Dragon Hunter kill instantly?
Well,
Many different
but
cards.
Well,
how many cards does it deal double damage against, basically?
I'm sorry, not kill instantly. Yeah,
We used to have it as kill instantly, though.
that's right. Jeez,
It's the same answer. It's the same answer. It really is.
it's the same answer. Yeah.
People should not be arguing in chat, I hope.
Oh wow, this is harder.
It's a hard question,
It's a
such
harder
that
question.
people are
harder
not,
than people are.
are not getting it right yet.
Not getting
No.
it right yet.
Well, of course, the real question is the answer that we came up with
The
actually
right answer.
correct?
Well,
Which
we
is
counted
another
them.
fun aspect of trivia. Yeah, I think we counted them sort of out loud, didn't we?
We'll go back to it one more time. Oh, actually, you use the filter.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So there are a couple of ways that you could do this within game. If you're following along on the stream, you can see I'll pop into the army screen here, and you mean you can use like the search function, probably is what you mean, right? Well,
Yeah.
that filter.
Yeah, I think so. Right? Can you?
Let's see if it works. It may only work on specials.
No, it doesn't want. Yep.
It
You're right.
only wants to do the name. But
Oh, well.
in the meantime, one thing we can do, I'll pop into it, show you guys here. I do have this neat little document called the swag, and you could actually go and search for stuff in here. There's this column here that called class.
I think the chat is exploded in spam.
Yeah. I think they're just now they're just like throwing numbers out there.
Oh my god. It's not some random prime number, I assure you.
It's
But if it says dragon in the class column here, this is a public spreadsheet that everybody has access to, and there are links everywhere on our various forums. You would be able to use this to look up how many different dragons there are. Do you see actually some right answers there?
I think I've seen. I mean, if our answer is the right answer, I see some of them. Yeah.
Are there at least 3 of them? Not an easy question to answer.
I think
This
I've seen
reminds
at
me.
least
This
2.
reminds me of a trivia question. This reminds
Yeah, no,
me
I
of a
see
trivia
3.
question.
I see 3 of them.
All right, so can I say what it is?
If you're confident it's the right answer.
All right. Lyle, why don't you say what the right answer is, so I don't have to be wrong if we're wrong.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna blame me. All right.
Clearly.
I'll go on a limb. All right. So the answer is 20.
I think that's right.
I think. Okay, and how do we come up with that answer?
We counted them.
It's this highly scientific method.
Well, no. So there are the 5. We said 5 other.
5 elder dragons. But you know, the funny thing is that technically you could argue that the 5 legendary versions of the elder dragons are not the same thing as the 5 epic versions of the elder dragons.
Oh gosh.
But I don't think that really flies.
no.
You should check how many people said 25. But
We have
Well,
both
we could-
answers for 20 and 25. So.
well, we should see which come first. It's 5. There's 5 factions, right, that have dragons in them,
Okay.
because Dragon Mech doesn't count. And then there's 4 different degrees of dragon, I guess, right? Because the dragon eggs count. Okay.
Yes.
This reminds me of a trivia question that
So,
I
wait,
asked long ago.
So in that case, is it 20 or?
You should. I think you should award 20.
Okay. All right. So Schizo.
Since we can blame Lyle.
Okay, Schizo,
We have it on record.
Pikachu,
All right.
Schizo, Pikachu, and Putsy are the right answers with 20.
Congratulations, guys. You managed to type 20 into the chat faster than everyone else. I assume that none of you have also typed all the numbers 1 through 19 just before getting the answer right. But, yeah.
But that's also a viable tactic. So
What I find interesting is a large number of people entered 8 at the very beginning. So I guess
8.
they probably weren't thinking of the dragon eggs.
That sort of makes sense, but then that would also be like 4 times 2. And the
Well,
answer is 5 times.
I don't know.
Maybe
8 is a common conception. I think that what's happening is that the first person to type something, there's other people that are lurking to try to type the same thing as the first answer as quickly
the first
as possible.
answer was 1, so.
Oh. There is this other trivia question.
Maybe that was answering the insta kill.
I sort of feel like sharing this on the chat, which is that there is this mammal that exists in Madagascar called a tenrec, and it's similar to like a vole or a hedgehog. It is the mammal that has the most number of teats. Okay, so it has like the reproductive organs of a female mammal that gives milk to its young. The teats. How many teats does a tenrec have on? Not on average. How does it have exactly? It's unbelievably shocking. It's the most of any mammal.
I think everybody or most people misunderstood the question. But that's fine. Some people got it right. So
well, I'm just going to continue on my little monologue and say that the answer to my trivia question is 23. It has a prime number of teats. Anyway, I think that's very cool. You should all look it up.
Okay.
So, yeah. What other decks beat imps? Well, what other
teats.
popular strategies are there? Maybe is a better way to ask. Here's one other popular strategy that we should talk about. I think we should talk about Malik a little bit. Lyle, I think you're probably
Malik?
just going to say yes. Is it Malik?
Malik?
Yeah, all right, Malik. Do you see a lot of Malik these days?
Yeah, he's used quite a bit in defense, of course.
Yeah.
As offense, we're seeing him. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Why am I even looking? Golly, guys. I'm so used to looking at the numbers, and then the truth to be told, yeah, everybody's using Malik.
George, I have a question. This is an interesting question that has been asked before.
Yes.
But are spell-only decks viable yet?
Are spell-only decks viable yet?
Yeah.
Well, I think you would have to use Saras, who is our sort of best spell casting person.
Yeah.
I think they are, but the problem is that you have to own all the cards, and that's probably not that easy to do. If you care to do so, there is an item here in our shop. This is not a loaded question. John Paul is not handing this off to me, but there is an item over here that is a pay item, which is a starter deck that contains only spell cards in it, which one could purchase if one wanted to. But spells are distributed throughout all the different sets.
But do you think that you could make a spell-only deck?
I think you could make a spell-only deck, but you would have to have a lot of summoning cards because you would need creatures on the field probably to be successful. Unless you had some strange stall tactic where you constantly were using Singularity or something like that and trying to win on. You could probably mill the opponent too while keeping your life up using cards like Revitalize and Dark Coercion, which are new cards in the Frontier set. I can bring those up on the screen very quickly here, and then I want to talk a little bit about Malik. We could do other trivia and stuff in the background, but maybe not necessary.
we do have a last trivia question lined up.
We can hang on to that for a second. So this is Dark Coercion that I brought up on the screen here, and this is our first basic mill card, I guess, in the game. It instantly removes 4 cards from the opponent's deck. Your opponent will take damage when he runs out of cards, so that's why milling is a tactic. And then we also have this other spell here, this other new spell. No, you know what? I don't own a copy of it, so I need to hit the Show All filter. Here it is, called Revitalize. And this adds cards to yourself and adds life to yourself. So if you were just using a stalling strategy that you had Singularity, it clears the board entirely, this spell here. Revitalize to keep your life up, and Dark Coercion to mill the opponent. That would be a pure spell deck that could work, for example. I've seen a few of them, but they're sort of rare because they depend so strongly on cards that are hard to acquire.
All right, George, answer this. Reclaim with summoned units. What's the deal?
Are we playing with summoned units?
No. It says I have decks I can't build because reclaims puts summoned units into my hand/deck.
Reclaim puts summoned units into your deck. Yeah. So one of the mechanics is that when we add cards, either through a summon or through some equipment or something like that, those actually become cards. Those units. Lyle might be able to tell me whether I'm thinking about this the right way. But my understanding is that, like, if we have some sort of summon happening in the game, it's putting an actual like new card into your deck effectively. I mean, it's putting it on the field, and then if that card is destroyed, it can be reclaimed. If that card is bounced, it can be bounced into your staging area and so on.
Hey, I work on the server, not the client.
Okay.
So, I try to. I'll let Giannis answer those questions.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, but I think that's how it's working, just from a mechanic standpoint.
I didn't. Okay. Yeah, are we talking about items with that summon as well too, or are we just talking about the reclaim spell?
Reclaim, equip.
The reclaim. So this guy is saying that he has the equipment that reclaims one card every turn.
Yeah.
And that it is triggering cards that were originally just summons and not actually deck build. So my impression.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's choosing a card, isn't it?
Yeah, no, but my impression is that basically what's happening is the length of your deck is increasing, even though some of the cards are discarded, as you summon things. I mean, effectively.
Yeah, it's being duplicated, isn't
it? Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if people think that that's a bad way to run the mechanic, then fine. I actually kind of like it because it allows you to control your deck size a little bit more, with more intent. Anyway, so this the reason that Malik is so popular is very, very simple. It's that he has a universally useful, easy to deck build skill, mechanic, and at the same time, he's very, very fast. And as we said earlier in the stream, if you have a fast deck, it allows you to grind faster, it allows you to win battles faster, and the actual play experience that you get out of that is sometimes improved. People can earn more because they can play more fights, but of course then you have to build a deck that's effective. So we, of course, take these things into consideration when we balance, and Malik right now is quite strong. We regularly will slightly nerf and slightly buff heroes so things are more balanced. We'd like to avoid the nerfs, but at the moment Malik is pretty strong. So you can see his skill at the high level here. Hasten 3, I have it up on the screen. It reduces the countdown, basically the delay of a random friendly unit by 50%. And it actually rounds up.
Rounds up?
Yeah, so if the thing
it pays to have odd round units?
It does pay to have odd units, although, I mean, if you have a unit you like that's even, it's going to be just as effective.
Mm-hmm.
If something has a delay of 7, for example, I mean, we can look here in my card. This blue dragon right here has a delay of 7. So if this was in my staging area, Malik would reduce that down to 3. Actually, instantly in one turn. And then, in fact, I can use a better example than that. I can show you a 9 here. Elder Aristar. This is both of those cards being answers to our earlier trivia question. These are both dragons. But anyhow, this fellow here, Elder Aristar, who has 9 countdown, he'll get reduced by Malik first to 4. Then the natural countdown of the next turn will reduce it to 3, and then Malik will instantly reduce it the next turn to 1. So you can get this card out basically in 2 turns, even though it's a 9 delay. That's essentially the power of Malik. And when people deck build him, they're going to do what I've done, which is put all their slowest, biggest, heaviest cards into the deck. And suddenly you have a relatively fast deck with really strong cards, and it just generally works against a lot of strategies. The problem is that what you're sort of trading off on here is you're trading off on any real good synergy and any real good reliability, because Malik does target something randomly in your hand, so he's not going to be always choosing the most efficient thing to take out. You may have 6 cards in your hand that have 8 delay and 1 that is 2, and he targets the 2.
Right.
So there's a little bit of trade-off there, but it's still pretty powerful. Anyhow, that's essentially how that works. I'm just realizing, by the way, that on the earlier trivia question, the answer was definitely 20.
Yeah.
Because there is no epic and legendary version of Elder Dragons, because Elder Dragons are, by definition, all legendary. It's not one of those ones where the epics and legends are different cards.
Okay.
Or are the same card, rather.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if there's any other questions here that are interesting.
Yeah, see if the chat has other questions for us, and maybe I kind of want to go slightly into a slight tangent, only to take advantage of the fact that we have Lyle here, and it behooves us to pick his brain a little bit. I mentioned earlier on that you are the sort of mind behind the Colosseum.
Mm-hmm.
The matchmaking of the Colosseum is, I think that it's probably changed a little bit or evolved a little bit over time, and maybe that's part of the nature of the question. But what is actually driving, how are you coming up with what the decks are, essentially, that I'm going to see in the Colosseum? Is it a huge pool? Is it a small pool? Where are those decks coming from?
Well, those decks are coming actually from the arena. So basically, the defense decks that are out there. No, I'm sorry, not the defense decks. When you enter the Coliseum, it's your currently active deck that gets chosen and put in there as a sample of something that can be actually fought against. So it's not the defense decks; it's actually the attack deck. So when you enter the Coliseum yourself, whatever you have selected has been added to a rolling list of decks to use from. We then actually are doing calculations on the ELO rating or whatnot in real time. So if a deck keeps losing, it goes down in rating, and if you keep losing to those decks, that deck is going to go higher. So we are actually keeping a real live idea of whether or not a deck is easy or hard. And so when you have the Coliseum, we choose a group of decks that are in your range of difficulty,
right,
based on how you've been doing. And we actually keep all that information behind the scenes on what you really are rated. So you do get and the Coliseum should be statistically going from something fairly easy to something a lot harder towards the end of the.
That's been my experience generally.
I think that is most people's experience, but it's been difficult to crack kind of, what Lyle has just explained to us, how the selection process is working. And so maybe the most salient point is just right at the front end there. It's the deck that you take to the Coliseum yourself that gets put into this list. So it's your active deck in a sense.
Right.
Yeah, that's
would we consider adding more chest slots? People seem to want
more chest slots.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think that's something. The way I would answer that is, I think that's something that people have a very mixed experience with, based on how veteran a player they are. When you are a brand new player and you're playing the campaign and you're getting a lot of chests for campaign quests, it can seem like you are very short on spaces, on slots. When you are a more veteran player and invariably you have all the chest slots unlocked, all 8 of them, it's actually quite difficult to fill all your chest slots and not be able to just instantly open them with a saved up skeleton key, because the skeleton keys themselves drop with reasonable regularity just in your regular grinding. So a lot of the top players that I know of that grind for hours at a time basically can do it with constantly open space, more or less.
Okay.
The other thing that I, at least from my perspective, would add to that is that it's the more space that we give people, actually sort of the higher the upper end is on how much people can earn per hour, and that can undercut our economy pretty badly if we're not careful.
I would be really concerned about the economy.
Okay. What about here's a maybe simpler suggestion. What about if you win all of your Coliseum matches up through 30? If you win 30, you get more than just the 25 bonus.
You mean they want more than a 5 gem bonus?
Well, or extend.
Seems like a nice bonus. What? What is the suggestion here?
Well, we did cut down the number of steps you needed to go through in the Coliseum. Didn't we have it up to 50 at some point?
Oh yeah, it was pretty high at one point. That's right.
It was pretty high, and people were really complaining that they had to work for so long to get through the Coliseum. And so we brought it down to a more reasonable number and just kind of left it there.
Oh, but maybe the question is a bonus for winning all 30.
Yeah,
as
like,
opposed to so that you never lose.
right. So if you never lose, you can like keep playing until 30. Right.
I don't dislike suggestions like that. I'll let Lyle answer because it's kind of his bag as well.
Well, it's the problem is, although conceptually that's good, there is a certain number of people that are going to just complain endlessly about, I just can't get my 30. Why can't I get my 30? And you want to tell them, I'm sorry, you're just not good enough yet. But at the same time, you just want to say, well, the problem is if we make it sort of too, how should I put it, too tempting, there's going to be certain people that just will drive them crazy. So to save them a little bit of that, we gave you some room there. Now maybe there's a compromise is you get another bonus at if you do it with only 5 losses instead of 10 or so.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I mean, the way I see it, the Coliseum is like one of the best things we have right now. It works well. Everybody likes it. Everybody plays it daily. It gives a really nice bonus to all our free players of 25 gems a day. I would be sort of reticent to mess with it, first of all, for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But then also maybe in addition to what you're saying, Lyle, it's working well the way it is right now, I think, because people feel like they can handle it and there's no reason for them to game the system. But if you actually create a really strong incentive for people to try to win all of their matches, I think we might actually start seeing the type of thing where people are intentionally entering the Coliseum with a very easy-to-beat deck and sort of gaming our system and so on so that, people can win more. I kind of like the fact that it's organic and we're getting real decks in there. So I'm just sort of want to
fair enough
to screw with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
To be fair, also 25 gems a day for a free player is pretty.
It's
nice.
pretty good. I agree.
It adds up. Yeah. I'd rather spend a little more effort in getting the tourney system working in a more entertaining way.
I totally agree. I think tournaments are a big point of contention and something we need to fix, and that actually. It's great that you bring that up. That's a perfect segue because that is kind of the third leg of the stool in the last topic that I wanted to briefly talk about on this stream.
Okay.
Because it is a very popular game mode and something that we, I think, want to work on in the near future.
All right. Before we get to that, first of all, I want to do a trivia. But before we do the trivia,
we want to do some door prizes, but go ahead.
The question from Crocker360 regarding Reclaim. So he was saying that. Reclaim, the way that it is now, makes certain deck strategies not viable.
Reclaim makes certain deck strategies not viable.
Right.
Okay.
So,
like what?
Let me find the exact.
Meaning deck strategies that have a very short deck, but then have summons because it's screwing their ability to
like
pick
an
the
all-spell
cards.
Mario deck with Singularity Spam and Reclaim, but the longer the game goes on, the less consistent the deck becomes because
it's becoming diluted from all the summoned items we put into the deck.
Right.
So it may be the simplest thing to do is have a summon tag on the summoned creatures that keep that Reclaim either doesn't touch or it destroys or whatever is appropriate.
That would be fine with me. There's always a counterpoint though. I mean, if we're thinking about a world in which eventually mill strategies will be a thing, that may imply that one very good counter to mill strategies is going to be summon decks that control a lot of cards. And we're sort of undoing that by having those cards not count as things that can be reclaimed. But I have no problem with the theory that maybe we should put a summon tag on things. And if that seems like something feasible to implement to you, Lyle, then even though that is happening in the client, I guess.
I don't see any reason why we couldn't do that. Who knows? You could even have a version of Unsummon or something that takes out all summoned creatures.
Cool. More card design. Okay, well, we'll look at that. That's a good point. If it's actually blocking some strategies, it may be a cool thing for us to dial back on because we always want to encourage more strategies. And the Marial Singularity is a great example of that, maybe. Okay, you know what, JP, you should ask your last trivia
That's
question.
trivia.
And then what we should do is we'll talk about the arena just a little bit, and then we'll wrap the show maybe at the very end with a couple door prizes as prizes for people who have hung around and stuck with us through this stream.
Okay.
The way the door prizes will work is we'll choose random people who are in the chat, and then I will give you the option of a free gem prize, or I'll open an equipment box and you can have what's inside.
Okay.
So let's start with trivia.
The last trivia question.
This is a gems trivia
It's
question.
a gems trivia. It's actually quite easy. So let's make it. Should we make it less 20 or 10 or 15?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
when you say 20 or 10 or 15, you've said the word 20 first.
Right,
so
20 it is.
Clearly.
So how many times for 20 gems? How many times can you lose in the Coliseum and still win the bonus?
Very apropos.
Right.
If you don't know the answer, rewind the stream a few minutes, probably. Oh, brother. Lau, how many years have you been in game development?
Oh, let's see here.
Rounding up to the nearest
I gotta do math
100.
in my head. 20 years, I guess. We'll just say 20 years.
Oh, man. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, so I don't mean to bring up that game again, but it is very, very cool to meet on a project years after the fact. Was Ambulance and Armor sort of one of your first?
Yeah, it was the first thing I did right out of college.
Oh, wow. Very cool. There is probably some way to get that on the internet now. I think I played it recently in an emulator on like a DOS emulator.
Go to ambulanceandarmor.com or ambulanceandarmor.com. I actually sent a link in the text message.
Yeah.
I ported it not too long ago.
Oh, cool.
3 years ago to Windows, so you don't even have to do a DOS simulator, and it should run directly in the game.
Oh,
course,
super cool.
The graphics are horribly dated, but you know.
No, they are wonderful, is what they are.
So the right answer to the question was 10. I think that was easy.
Yeah, it's an easy one.
We have 3 winners.
We have 3 winners? All right.
We have 3 winners.
Two
They are
gems.
Flightinox, Lepus, and Akrat69. And that's all in your Skype chat, so...
Great. Okay, so there are only 4 players in this tourney, and I'll actually include Ambulance and Armor in the notes on when I write up this stream. But anyway, speaking about tourneys, this is something that Lau brought up a couple minutes ago and said this is something we want to work on, and I wholeheartedly agree. This is the thing that I want to work on the most. Tourneys are great because they're drafts, which is a really cool format to play in. It gives a new player all the same advantages of a pro player, a veteran player, except the advantage of experience. But you get the same, essentially, card pool to choose from. I mean, it is randomized. But nobody has an advantage because they've collected more cards. And you also, this is the primary way you win equipment, so it's also important. But there are a few issues with the way tourneys are running right now, and it's causing a lot of people to want to exploit and sort of take advantage of the fact that they can use alts to feed themselves wins, and it just kind of screws up the experience for everybody.
And just to be clear, we're banning that. If you're doing it, we're banning you. So.
Exactly. Yeah, it's expressly against the rules, and that's written about in all our forums, and we are catching and banning people. Yeah. You could probably tell from earlier chat that if I ask Lyle a question about something, he's just immediately looking at a report and looking at the statistics on something. So he sees everything you're doing. So please don't think you're getting away with it, because you're not. But in any event, I think that there are a few things that I want to do in tournaments mechanically, sort of functionally. And it remains to be seen how easy some of those things will be for us to implement. But, for example, the ability to draft a few more cards than you actually use in the tournament, which is very typical of drafting that we don't have, that will actually make drafts more interesting. Maybe the ability to pick equipment before you pick your cards, because then it will actually, it'll make your deck choices make a little bit more sense. Once we are able also to remove the exploiting and come up with a means to do that sort of works and is robust, we can also adjust the prize structure a little bit. I know a lot of people are saying it's really, really hard to win 20 out of 25 legitly if everybody's building new decks. Well, if we find that to be the case statistically, of course we'll adjust the prize structure so it's fair. But we can't do that while the majority of people that are winning are actually cheating, or some of the people who are winning are actually cheating, because that doesn't give us a real, baseline that makes any sense. We're not actually then understanding what's happening. So anyway, I hope that we were able to address some of that stuff in upcoming changes. I don't know. I mean, do you guys, either you, JP, or Lyle, have thoughts about this? What we need to do in tourneys, anyway?
Well, it's always driven us crazy about the tourneys is the time aspect. People, they're going to set up a deck, and then it's 4 hours of either actively doing it, or you wait, or so forth. And we talked about a 1 hour sign up period, and then you have to sign up, and then you have the 3 hour period of actually doing it. I'm still looking. I would love to look to the community to find ways to solve what they want in time. I mean, does that mean we go to like a 1 hour format, or
Yeah.
and something simpler, or?
I mean, so if we make then of course there's the variable of the community size and how popular tournaments will be. I mean, we don't want to make them happen every 10 minutes right now anyway, because we don't have enough players for that. Then nobody will be in any tourneys. So yeah, I like the fact that 4 hours means that there's always at least a tourney somewhat close to starting, or somewhat close to you don't have to wait 8 hours to get to the next one. But maybe that window is too small if we want to get more people in the tourneys. So
and as somebody already suggested, tourney probably should start until there's at least 10 people entered. Then that may be a simple fix.
But if we're going to do that, then we might as well have a sign-up period, because I'd rather not have an arbitrary time that the tournament starts rather than a fixed time when the tournament starts. Another thing that it has been thrown around a little bit in chat, and also just stuff that I've thought about, is potentially maybe creating some bots to fill slots in tourneys, because there's a draft format, and it's not actually that hard to pick cards in a draft and equipment. So that there's at least a baseline of available other decks that you can play against. But I'd like to think that we can fill tourneys with actual players.
Mm-hmm. But,
all right, should we do
but you bring up a good point. We could fill out until we have 10 entries after the 1 hour sign up period.
Yeah, as a default.
Should we do door prize?
Yeah, I think maybe we should start wrapping and doing a couple door prizes. I really encourage you guys, if you have any specific questions for Lyle, this is probably the best opportunity to get to talk to him. He is super, super busy, with all kinds of projects, many of which I'm sure are very cool, but we don't have to get into those right now. And so, it may not be the case that he's always available on these streams. So if you have any questions about the back end, or about any of the game logic, or that you might be involved in, now would be a time to ask, or any more general questions. And then I think we're probably just going to wrap in a few minutes.
Yeah. All right. So should I random roll for the next?
Sure. Why don't you throw out a door prize for us? Are there other questions that happened in the chat earlier that we didn't get to?
No, people are just complaining that they heard the question late, and other people answered before they heard the question. So probably what we'll do on trivia moving forward, guys, I'll just type it in the chat before we actually ask it on the stream, even though we'll also ask it on the stream, like after I type it.
Okay.
Just so everyone has a fair chance, the same chance as everyone else, or the same time as everyone else to answer.
Okay, but then, all right, well, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
There's a delay between the stream and the time.
Right. Okay. So, this is not the last live stream. We do them like fairly regularly.
Most weekends.
You'll have the chance to win more trivia. But shall we do
Yeah, let's do a door prize. We will randomly select one person in chat. JP will manage that. Now, let me point out that normally when we do door prizes, in past streams, we only give it to somebody who is following our Twitch channel. So we don't necessarily have to enforce that, but it would be great if you could take a moment, if you're watching this, to subscribe or follow the channel. It takes 2 seconds.
We just make it 5 times more likely that people that are subscribed will actually be winners.
Oh, subscriber luck, you can actually make it more likely that they win? Okay,
Yeah,
don't make it 5 times more likely. But
twice,
yeah,
3 times.
2 times more likely is more than enough.
Fine.
But we do appreciate if you follow the channel because a popular channel, meaning a channel with a lot of followers, is one that we can advertise more and we can get pro streamers to help us in the near future advertise the game. We're about to go to iOS in just a few weeks and expect a lot of new players, and it'll be really helpful for us to have a major Twitch existence at that point.
Right.
Also, then I don't have to be the guy that hosts because I'm not very good at it.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, go. Is that okay? 3,
Sure.
2, 1, and Lazasa.
Lazasa is the winner. All right. Well, Lazasa, please tell us in the chat whether you would like 25 gems or what's in the box. What's in the box?
Yes.
Red snapper. Very tasty.
Lazasa. Genzo.
Well, you're not
Rakuta.
somehow secretly manipulating this in the background so that no matter how I click on this, it's going to give me a trinket, right?
Of course, yes.
Of course, you're not doing that. When you say no God mode for anyone else, you just mean for anyone else.
All right, so Lazasa. Okay, we're still waiting for Lazasa to tell us whether to open the box or give you gems. So.
Well, if you stop paying attention, we're going to roll for somebody else.
No, she answered already, so just need to wait. Box.
You okay, what's in the box or not?
Open the box.
Oh my God. Get what's in the box.
Oh, we all want to
No
watch. We want
box.
to see what's in the box. Right?
Everybody wants to see what's in the box.
Let's see it.
Even though it says use and not open, this is the open button. I sound so passive aggressive. I hope Giannis isn't watching.
Box. All right, she wants the box. So,
the box? He,
yeah.
she.
Well, I don't know if Lazasa is a woman or a man.
You don't have to use a pronoun. Just say Lazasa.
Okay.
Why are you confusing the issue?
Pronouns are cool.
They are. Schoolhouse Rock.
All right, let's do it. Just go.
All right, so let's see what's in the box. And it is... We're going to blame Lau for this one. It's a Sun King's Crown. It is an epic that increases your health and army size. Congratulations! I say that as facetiously as I can. However, this is something that will, I promise you, be very useful in the future. Well, I don't really promise that, but I think it will be really useful in the future when we have, like, you know, mill decks and these things actually matter.
All right, should we do another one of these?
Yeah, we should do another one.
All right.
We should do another one.
We have another one. All right, guys. So, okay.
So I guess there is, like, you know, roughly 10% chance of getting a legendary in these things, right?
Yeah. Right? What is the chance? Actually?
I don't know.
I don't
We
know.
should ask Lyle these questions. Like, Lyle, what is the most popular piece of equipment?
I don't give drop rates.
Nah, he doesn't get it all right. All right, cool. All right, guys.
That's a very
guys.
safe answer.
So 3,
No, it's not my thing.
2, 1.
All right, go ahead and roll.
Push the button.
Oh my, you're not even pushing it. You're just clicking it out.
Captain Thunderwalker.
Captain
Nice.
Thunderwalker. We're really giving it to our regulars here.
Well,
I
you
mean,
know what?
I guess they subscribe.
Yeah.
All right,
What can I
Captain
say?
Thunderwalker, also
You
known
want
as
to?
Stratocumulus.
Stratocumulus.
I want the box. That was pretty fast.
That was good. Yeah. Well, I guess he's like easy.
All right, so shall I open the box?
Let's do it.
Drum
Open the
roll,
box.
please. Hang on, I need a sip of tea for this. See that? 10% gone. Let's see what's in the equipment box. It is another Sun King's Crown. All right, you know what? We're doing this a third time. This is total bull crap. Keep in mind that this is my player account, and these are my hard-earned epic equipment boxes, so I have just gotten 2 Sun King's Crowns. I might have to buff this item to, like, attack your opponent for 10 every turn or something like that, now that I have 2 of them. Just such BS. Alright, I have one more of these.
Okay, one more. Alright, one more, guys.
This is so unfortunate. It better not be a third one.
I'm gonna.
Flydenox.
Flydenox, really?
Yeah.
Okay. More regulars. All right, Fly. What do you want?
Box.
Lyle, do you have a prediction?
I'm gonna go with
now,
Sun King's Crown.
Sun Crown.
I'm not going to bet against you. All right.
I don't.
Here it goes. A sniper's bow.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's
Okay,
not
well,
terrible.
It's not a Sun King's crown. So.
It's not a Sun King's crown. It's a sniper's bow. Congrats. Oh man. I guess we've proven that I'm not cheating on my player account because I'm not opening any legendaries. So how many have I opened on stream time? I've opened 6 epic equipment boxes and I haven't gotten any legendaries yet.
Did we do 3 last time?
We did 3 last time as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Maybe we only did 2.
I think we only did 1 or 2.
No, we did 2.
can't
You're right.
remember.
So
I can't
5.
remember.
All right. So I'm 0 for 5 on the legendaries.
Okay. Well, we're keeping a rolling tab. So.
We are. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for watching us. Thank you for following. Thank you for not writing comments in the Twitch chat about my choice of underwear this time. And we
Please send any donations for Purell to our PayPal account.
what?
Disinfect JP was a hashtag in the chat.
Disinfect JP was a
I
hashtag.
touched your mouse.
You did touch my mouse.
You.
All right, that is not a euphemism.
No, I literally touched your mouse.
Okay,
I
you know what?
literally
You
touched
need to. I
your
wish I
literal
could mute you.
mouse.
Next time we're in person, JP's going to be on a headset and I'm not.
All right.
Lyle, I want to give you a big thanks for being here with us for an hour and 10 minutes of pain. Thank you for not taking charge and interrupting like you probably wanted to about 100 times when we were being idiots.
Yeah, that's just what we do.
That's part of the entertainment.
It is, unfortunately,
Yeah.
probably all of it. But yeah, anyhow, thank you guys. Please tune in next time. And if you have also, by the way, particular things you want us to cover or
The hands
discuss,
are nice and warm now.
and you tell us ahead of time, we can plan these things ahead and actually be ready for you. So we're going to sign off here. Congrats to the prize winners.
Yeah, congrats, guys.
I think we'll see them next weekend.
Indeed. Well, yeah, sure, Sunday. It'll have to be Sunday because I'm traveling back to Greece all of Saturday. So.
Yes, the guy who wants to talk about disinfecting himself and he's covered in grease. That's not what you meant? Oh.
No. All right, later, guys.
Cheers.